You're listening to Systemic Error Podcast. The failure was designed.
Texas is a mess. GOP strategist cackles at Ted Cruz's terror, based on an article by Kathleen Culleton. Texas isn't a joke. The GOP just keeps treating it like one. The actual power problem. Ted Cruz was not warning Republicans about a vibe shift. He was acknowledging a basic fact of power. The Texas Republican machine is so brittle that Ken Paxton, with all his scandal and baggage, can still be treated as a serious Senate contender. Greg Abbott sits at the top of that apparatus. Cruz is inside it. Paxton is one of its products. This is not a rogue individual story. It is a story about a party that has normalized damage as long as the donor class, the judges, and the office holders stay aligned. What the source gives us. The reporting centers on Cruz's warning that James Talarico could actually beat Paxton in a Senate race, while Paxton is mocked for a London appearance with a woman who is not his wife and for questions about an address used in multiple elections. That is the factual core. Everything else is the machinery of political consequence. Cruz telling Abbott they may not be able to keep Texas red, and a Republican strategist admitting that the state is a mess. Scandal as a governance style. Paxton's behavior is being handled like late-night material, but the underlying issue is institutional rot. The source points to alleged voting irregularities, public hypocrisy, and the casual movement of a powerful Texas official through scandal without immediate consequence. That is not confusion. That is how an elite protection system works when the office holder is still useful to the party. The same movement that gasps at Paxton's optics has spent years letting men like him remain operational. The framing is too small. MS now laughter is understandable, but it also reveals the limits of cable politics. It turns a corruption story into a personality farce that lets the Republican Party off too easily. Paxton is not embarrassing despite the system. He is embarrassing because the system keeps rewarding him. The relevant question is not whether he has baggage. It is why Texas Republicans still treat a man under that cloud as a viable vehicle for power. Talarico's real significance. The only reason Cruz is suddenly nervous is that a Democrat could make the race competitive enough to expose the weakness of Republican control. That is the real story, not Paxton's private mess, but the fact that GOP dominance in Texas now depends on shielding a scandal-ridden incumbent from a credible challenge. When a party has to fret about keeping a seat red instead of defending a record, it is admitting the record cannot stand on its own. The pattern behind the punchline. This is what institutional decay looks like in plain sight. Powerful men protected by party loyalty, corruption recast as distraction, and a political press tempted to laugh instead of follow the chain of responsibility. The problem is not that Texas Republicans are clumsy. It is that they have built a system where clumsiness, corruption, and authoritarian instinct can coexist as long as the right people keep winning. You've been listening to Systemic Error. Thanks to Raw Story for today's article with the automated voice of Ryan. Thanks for listening.